The four states' most watched news starts now.
Wednesday morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News where it's 5 o'clock. I'm Michael Hayslip. Little sunshine returned into the forecast with all that rain that we had yesterday. Now we are going to get a little bit more precipitation before we get to the weekend, but certainly not like what we had on Tuesday. A current look at the Skywatch storm tracker. Most of that's coming off of the sweeping radar there, not hitting the ground as our skies remain clear, but it is a chilly one out there. A whole bunch of high 30s. Just a couple low 40s. Huge cry from where we stood at this point yesterday as the wind continues to move in from the north. Now we are seeing a little bit, number one, of a shift. Number two, lessening up in intensity. Instead of rolling that 15 to 20, we're just sitting anywhere right now from about 5 to 10. As far as our weather trend goes for today, after sunrise around 6:20, actually going to be able to make it up into the high 60s, looking absolutely delightful. And then we get some cloud cover that builds overnight, and we get ready for just real scatter rain on here from Thursday, and it's just going to sprint right through. It's certainly not widespread by any means, very hit or miss, and with the speed that it's moving, very little accumulation as our temperatures continue to warm up as we head toward the weekend. As we're going to see 70s there for Friday, Saturday, and a little bit of rain creeping in there for Mother's Day and cooler temps as well. You might want to hold off to the afternoon if you got mom any plants, you plan on doing any garden work, and then we ride low 60s there for next week. Due to increased demand for chicken meat in the United States, some suppliers are struggling to keep up, creating a somewhat tight supply across the country. What adds to this is lingering effects of winter storms on major chicken producings. Now, some restaurant suppliers, they're having to play catch up to meet demand.
Call 3 suppliers. Call these suppliers, call other suppliers. Even need to find another supplier, see who can give me the chicken breast. Like extra work to find material. And also he said that the price going twice.
Experts say poultry production is beginning to return to normal and the supply issue should pass soon. The FDA is expected to give authorization for Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to be administered to a younger age group. According to federal officials familiar with the CDC's plan, authorization could come as early as next week and would open up the vaccine to those ages 12 through 15. During the course of the pandemic, information has come out noting that children are less susceptible to COVID, leaving some parents wondering why younger kids need the vaccine.
You know, they can have mild illness, asymptomatic, in fact, and don't even know that they're contagious. So if we can prevent that, we can prevent their contact with other people that are susceptible and prevent that transmission of illness.
Stokes says it's too early right now to know if additional authorizations will come for children younger than age 12, but that trials are already underway. Walmart and Sam's Club making 2 announcements yesterday on vaccine distribution. Number 1, COVID-19 vaccines are now available at all of their locations. And the second, that you can just walk up and get one of those vaccines. Appointments, well, those are still available as well. And we've got more information on this story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Pittsburgh Police Department says a 16-year-old was behind the wheel of a car that hit a Pittsburgh Casey's gas station. The department released more info on the crash yesterday. They say the 16-year-old drove the car up on the curb along the walkway on the east side of the building, then hit the building. It caused significant structural damage. No one was hurt. The city of Neosho, Missouri and the Neosho School District looking into a partnership regarding the construction of a new performing arts center at the school. City's going to waive some project fees in exchange for the school district handling construction features. That's going to include 2 crosswalks and sidewalks, rerouting Hill Street north of the high school, and improving stormwater handling at the site.
I appreciate their willingness to work with us. I mean, it's one of those situations where we're all kind of here to support our kids in our town, and they've got to think about their bottom line, and we've got to think about ours.
The Neosho City Council yesterday considered initial approval of the agreement, with the council also voting to to accept a $2.5 million grant to address flooding issues. City of Neosho is contributing $150,000 to that effort. A man who fatally shot 3 people at Jewish sites in Kansas has died in prison. The Kansas Department of Corrections said in a news release that 80-year-old Frazier Glenn Miller Jr. died yesterday at the El Dorado Correctional Facility. Miller, who was also known as Frazier Glenn Cross Jr., was sentenced to death for the 2014 killings in Overland Park, Kansas. The Department of Corrections says an autopsy will determine the cause of death. Kansas governor encouraging restaurants in her state to apply for Restaurant Revitalization Fund grants. Federal government is offering the grants to help restaurants recoup money lost during shutdowns. You've got restaurants, bars, food trucks, and caterers are all eligible. We've got more information on our website, and once again, KOAMnewsnow.com. 2 Republican lawmakers are considering challenging a former Kansas Secretary of State for the State Attorney General's office. House Speaker Pro Tem Blaine Finch and Senate Judiciary Chair Kelly Warren have both announced they're considering getting into the race. Attorney General Derek Schmidt, he's seeking the Republican nomination for governor. Schmidt from Independence, Kansas. Former Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach announced his candidacy for Attorney General last week. As we roll up on 5:07, take a look at our weather trend for today. Even though it's chilly right now, a bunch of high 30s out there, we do stay away from the freezing mark. No watches, warnings, advisories, even the flood advisory down in the southern portion of southwest Missouri was allowed to expire. I mean, somehow, some way, we were able to avoid one in Vernon County, despite the fact that we picked up anywhere from 6 to 7 inches of rain. Of course, that's subject to change here as we get a little bit more precip on Thursday, but we're still looking high 60s and sunny for our Wednesday. Speaking of Wednesday into Thursday, a little bit of growing cloud cover for the afternoon. But the rain, and I tell you what, it's about hit or miss as you can get. Nothing widespread, certainly not looking at anything severe. And we warm up headed into the weekend. Got another cold front, though, that's going to show up just in time for Mother's Day with some additional rain over the weekend and somewhat cool temps, especially when we talk about it being just about the middle of May there when we start next week. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the demand for the vaccine appears to be dwindling.
President Biden has a new plan to convince more Americans to get the COVID vaccine as demand continues to drop. I'm Laura Podesta with details on the initiative.
Joplin Eagles hit the field. We're taking on COC rival Carl Junction, and the highlights on the way. And the Biden administration says it's increasing the number of refugees allowed into the United States. Why some White House officials say meeting the new target appears to be difficult. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Two of the best baseball teams in southwest Missouri meeting last night in Joplin. That's where the Joplin Eagles hit the field to take on COC rival Carl Junction. CJ coming in 14-7, Joplin 14-9. Top of the first. Pitch scoots away. Here comes Noah Southern. Kick and scoot. Bulldogs go up 1. Next batter, Dylan Eck. Shot to center field. Here comes Alex Baker. Heads up base running. CJ puts up 2 in their first half of the inning. Bottom of the frame. Joplin, big swing from Cole Cooper. Yeah. Cooper goes to right center. Eagles on the board within 1. Bottom of the third, Alex Curry. Oppo, RBI single. And just like that, the Eagles are up 1. Then David Fiskus, he goes down the left field line. Here comes Cooper, and Joplin not done. Grounder to the right-hand side from Ethan Guilford brings in the Eagles' 5th run of the inning as Joplin leads at that point in time 7-2 and end up winning this thing 9-3.
Games, and it just ignites you, and it's deflating to the other team when you can come up with those kind of hits in those situations. And we've been preaching it, we've been working on it, we've been talking about it, and it's just been coming, and we've been waiting for that to kind of break loose a little bit and get a few of those. And the guys had some really good at bats throughout the game.
I love Kyle's Fu Manchu he's got going. Webb City Cardinals on a 4-game winning streak, trying to stay in the COC race last night. Home game against Neosho, and the Cardinals get it done, winning 8-1. Next one is a big one for Webb, at home Thursday against the first place Republic Tigers. Frontenac Raiders hosting an interstate matchup against the Liberal Bulldogs. Frontenac's won 5 of the last 7. Their only 2 losses coming in a doubleheader sweep against Baxter Springs. Now this one was moved to the turf at Pittsburgh State because of all the rain that we had yesterday morning. Top of the first, Liberal jumps out to the early lead. Chase Ray drops one into right, and the bases were loaded when he did so, and everybody scores. Bottom of the inning, Frontenac's got an answer. Jeremy Rayo down the line. That scores 2. And just like that, we're tied at 3. Down 6-3 in the third, Frontenac gets rolling. Alex Williams, pinch hit single, brings in 2. Then Frontenac will take a lead for the first time. Lane Sullivan finds the gap in left center. Here come 2 more Raiders. Frontenac rolls from there, wins it 17-7 in 6 innings. Pittsburgh State Gorillas are headed into the final weekend series of the regular season. Gorillas finish out their schedule with 3 games at home against Emporia State. Right now, Pitt State 20-10 in the MIAA. So that record ties them with Missouri Southern for the 3rd best record in the league. PSU getting hot at the right time. They're winners of 7 in a row going into this final weekend. Gorillas hoping to keep the momentum rolling for the conference tournament and maybe for games beyond that.
I think it's huge just for like a regional aspect to things. I think if we keep that in our mind, you know, these 3 games are bigger than any 3 games we've had all year. We just got to take care of our business, and I think if we do that, then whatever happens in the conference standings, you know, we did our part this weekend, and that's all we have to really worry about. We're going to have our best stuff, and I think we're going to have a lot of energy, and I think we're a good team, and I don't think a lot of people can really hang with us.
Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, a recovery option underway.
Officials launch an investigation into Monday's deadly train collapse. I'm Jeff Paul in Los Angeles. I've got the details coming up.
And to check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Rolling just past 5:17 on this Monday, or Wednesday, May the 5th is what I meant to say. So let's go ahead and jump into our weather almanac here. We want to talk about the precipitation numbers that we see there on the bottom of the screen. That month of 1.35 inches, more than half of that came yesterday at Joplin Regional Airport. We had some impressive numbers there, especially as you dip farther to the south. Now, as I mentioned earlier, even with that being said, we don't have any watches, warnings, or advisories associated with any of that rain, and kind of surprisingly so, because we had the record-setting rain last week, and then, of course, yesterday certainly didn't disappoint in some places where we had an excess of 3 inches south of I-44. As far as the Skywatch Storm Tracker goes on this Wednesday morning, we are bright and clear. Bright as in the moon and the stars. Just wonderful shots of those. See a little pop-up of green every now and then. A lot of that not even able to hit the ground. Just a little moisture still sticking around from the Gulf. Warm trend is over the mid-Atlantic. We're waiting for that thing to recede back toward us as the trough of the jet stream there, almost dipping under us. You know, we need the ridge to kind of get May-like temperatures. So we'll get into the high 60s today, but that's still cooler than what you'd anticipate for first full week of May here. Whole bunch of 39s and 40s. So if you do go out and get a celestial view, I'd throw on a jacket. It's north wind. You know, put a little bite in it. It's not too bad, just 5 to 10 miles per hour, but certainly does make a difference as far as what it feels like outside. Our weather trend for today, once the sun kicks in, takes effect, we'll call sunrise at 6:19 on this Wednesday morning. Then we're able to warm up into the high 60s. Growing cloud cover overnight, and that's going to present us with, number one, temperatures that are not so cold from Wednesday night into Thursday, but also, two, it packs a little scattered rain shower every now and then. Certainly not widespread, nothing severe. Sprint right through, and then on Thursday and Friday, we can warm back up into the 70s. Saturday looking nice and mild, 77 with chance for rain, but then we got some Mother's Day rain on the way as well. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. After weeks of backlash, President Biden announcing he is raising the cap of refugees allowed into the U.S. this fiscal year. Though meeting it's going to be a tall order. Refugee advocates have praised President Biden's announcement and say they hope his move could inspire other nations to do the same. Natalie Bland has the story from Washington.
President Biden calls it a move to reassert American leadership and values, raising the annual refugee admissions cap to 62,500 from the historically low number of 15,000 under the previous administration.
This is a moment of jubilation and celebration for refugees around the world and for the American people.
Sasha Chenoff founded the organization Refuge Point, which works with the U.S. government and UN Refugee Agency to help those in need resettle. He says he's seen that need firsthand as part of a team that rescued individuals fleeing massacres and bloodshed in the Congo 20 years ago.
I still remember those people's faces. Each one of these 62,500 spaces represents a human being just like you and me.
The Biden administration has broken down the updated cap across regions, starting with 22,000 slots for Africa. But the White House acknowledges it will still be hard to achieve their new target.
There are so many organizations who play incredible roles in the United States and around the world. They have been understaffed, they've been under-resourced, and some of our success will depend on the ability to rebuild those systems.
The president, in his statement this week, also acknowledged the challenge of meeting the goal he set for next fiscal year of 125,000 refugee admissions.
There's an intention to rebuild. There's an intention to make sure resettlement meets the needs today, and we're positioned to do that.
Chenoff says while it will take time to build back the resettlement program, he believes the administration's announcement sends a clear message to the world and those seeking refuge. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The president's refugee cap announcement comes as the administration touts significant progress at the southern border. The number of unaccompanied minors being held in DHS facilities plummeted from a high of more than 5,000 in March to now around 600. Our question this morning is, should the U.S. increase its refugee cap? You can leave a message for us on the KOAM News Now Facebook page or take part in our Insta poll, koamnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the demand for the vaccine is dwindling. The number of people getting a first shot or single dose is down 50% since peaking on April 13th, the day the administration announced a pause on the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. CBS's Laura Podesta has details on how the Biden administration wants to reach Americans who have yet to get their shot.
Hello, passing out COVID-19 vaccination information.
Canvassers with Detroit's health department are going door to door looking to educate people on the COVID-19 vaccines.
Are you interested in being vaccinated?
Yeah.
Awesome.
They'll knock on about 200,000 doors over the next few months as they seek out those who haven't made up their mind.
There's obviously some vaccine hesitancy going on, and when they know the facts, I think it'll help.
At the White House, President Biden laid out a new vaccination plan.
Our goal by July 4th is to have 70% of adult Americans with at least one shot and 160 million Americans fully vaccinated.
Right now, around 106 million Americans are fully vaccinated. The White House says boosting vaccine confidence is one way to hit its target, making these canvassers an essential part of the process.
There's not one kind of strategy that works. You really have to go where people are, talk to them.
The administration also hopes to vaccinate millions of 12 to 15-year-olds as soon as the FDA authorizes it, which is expected as soon as this week.
We just know that there's a ton of anxiety for the parents out there.
This pharmacy in Wisconsin is already booking tentative appointments.
I'm just glad that at this point we have plenty of vaccines.
The White House is working to make it more convenient to get a vaccine, with more walk-in appointments, pop-up clinics, and mobile units. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
The White House is also changing how it distributes vaccines. If a state does not want its full allotment, those doses will go to states with the demand. The number of births in the United States dropped again last year, down 4% from 2019 and the lowest since 1979. The National Center for Health Statistics says birth rates declined for women in all age groups, 15 to 44. The fertility rate in the U.S. has declined for 6 years in a row. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
than an hour away from sunrise on this Wednesday. We'll call it 6:19 over Joplin. Mostly sunny skies, just a little northwest breeze, only 5 to 10 miles per hour. And don't have to worry about rain until it gets to extremely scattered variety on Thursday. We'll be back. More KOAM Morning News next.
Chicken suppliers struggle to keep up with demand, how the shortage affects local restaurants. Plus, the FDA expected to give authorization for the Pfizer vaccine to a younger age group, why some parents are voicing concerns. And a look at a proposed partnership between the city of Neosho and the Neosho School District.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. You can enjoy a sunny, dry day. Thank goodness to break up this rain before more is expected later this week. Michael Hayslip joins us for the first look at the forecast.
Take a look in at the 4 states here, and we'll remove the sweeping radar because we get this early in the morning. Sometimes it gets a little confusing and likes to throw a whole bunch of green up there. As you can tell, we're clear as can be. Absolutely gorgeous May morning, but it's a cold one too. We've got temperatures as low as 38 right now in Parsons and Neodesha, 39 in Neosho and Monette and Miami as well. That's because that cold front worked in with all that north wind that came with the rain yesterday, but at least it's backed off. It's now just 5 to 10 miles per hour in the sun. After it rises at 6:19 over Joplin, quickly going to kick in and lift us up into the 60s there by the noon hour. As far as that rain we were talking about, it's not widespread, it is not severe. And the majority of the 4 states look like going to stay dry there through Thursday into Friday. Friday is going to be nice and actual temperatures in the 70s. Saturday, additional rainfall, but 77. And then we got another front that works in for Mother's Day. That rain's a little bit more widespread for Mother's Day and drops us down to the low 60s there for next week.
Wow, it's already almost time for Mother's Day.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
hard to believe. Hard to believe.
Yeah. Years flying by. All right, thanks, Michael. Increased demand for chicken meat in the U.S. has some suppliers struggling to keep up, and that's creating a somewhat tight supply across the country. What adds to this even more is lingering effects of winter storms on major chicken-producing regions. And now some restaurant suppliers are playing catch-up to meet this demand.
3 suppliers. Call these suppliers, call other suppliers. Even need to find another supplier, see who can give me the chicken breast. Like actual work to find material. And also he said that the price going twice.
Lower supply clashing with a higher demand plus increased price of the product have affected local chicken spots across the country. But experts say poultry production is beginning to return to normal. The FDA is expected to give authorization for Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to be administered to a younger age group. According to federal officials familiar with the agency's plans, the authorization could come as early as next week and would open up the vaccine to those ages 12 to 15. During the course of the pandemic, information has come out noting that children are less susceptible to COVID, leaving some parents wondering why younger kids need the vaccine.
You know, they can have mild illness, asymptomatic, in fact, and don't even know that they're contagious. So if we can prevent that, we can prevent their contact with other people that are susceptible and prevent that transmission of illness.
Stokes says it's too early right now to know if additional authorizations will come for children younger than 12, but that trials are already underway. The city of Neosho, Missouri and the Neosho School District are looking into a partnership regarding the construction of a new performing arts center at the school. The city will waive some project fees in exchange for the school district handling construction features, including 2 crosswalks and sidewalks, rerouting Hill Street north of the high school, and improving stormwater handling at the site.
I appreciate their willingness to work with us. I mean, it's one of those situations where we're all kind of here to support our kids in our town, and they've got to think about their bottom line, and we've got to think about ours.
The Neosho City Council yesterday considered initial approval of the agreement. The council also voted to accept a $2.5 million grant to address flooding issues. The city is contributing $150,000 to that effort. Well, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and lots of area businesses are offering discounts to teachers to thank them for their hard work. And that's great, but we thought who better to show their appreciation for teachers than the kids who are currently learning from them and growing with them. So we sent KOAM photojournalist Ty Parks to Webb City to talk to students and find out what their teachers mean to them.
She is really nice, and she sometimes let us have extra recess and sometimes extra computer time, and she is overall really kind. She makes it fun, like sometimes she'll let us go up and teach it to the class.
What's happening there? Why is it causing more?
I like my teacher because she is kind and sweet to all of us, and she teaches us about math, reading, and writing, and she makes it more fun.
Today we are going to learn about the Bill of Rights. Can you say Bill of Rights?
Bill of Rights.
And it is super important because...
Well, all teachers basically, because they all show respect and try doing stuff super easy. Well, they just find an easier way to do things if it's a little hard.
So, changing the
Constitution.
Good. Many people are not.
Teachers are always nice. They give respect to you, and every time they almost never get mad, and they're very patient.
Section just about the Bill of Rights, right? It's a huge part of
Patience. Key virtue of a teacher there. You can show your appreciation for area teachers by nominating them as a classroom hero. Just go to our website and nominate a local teacher who goes above and beyond for their students. A committee picks a winner each month of the school year and an overall semester winner. The monthly hero and their school will be rewarded with a $500 Visa gift card and a basket of school supplies. At the end of each semester, you'll get to vote on a grand prize winner to receive $2,500. To nominate a classroom hero, just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com/Classroom Heroes Award. Hundreds of bears have left their winter dens and are roaming Missouri forests to help people stay safe. The Missouri Department of Conservation encourages people to be bear aware. The department offers some tips. First off, don't feed the bears. Officials say if a bear loses its fear of humans, it can become dangerous and might have to be put down. Store garbage and compost in a secure building or bear-proof container. Keep grills and smokers clean and use electric fencing to keep bears away from beehives, chicken coops, and vegetable gardens. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. If you can't get that roll up your sleeves jingle out of your head, wait until you hear what Singapore's government came up with. We're going to show you the country's wild PSA that went viral. Plus, a recovery operation continues in Mexico City following a deadly train collapse. We'll have the latest, but first, it's 5:37.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one that catches himself walking around the station going, roll up your sleeve, Kansas, roll up your sleeve. Feel better. I thought that was just a me thing. Temperatures up into the high 60s today. Sunny skies after sunrise at 6:19. Next shot for rain going to be tomorrow morning, and it's going to be extremely sporadic. Nothing severe and very, very little accumulation. Same goes for Friday. At least we get to warm up a little bit. Next time we get widespread, it's going to be over the weekend from Saturday into a Mother's Day Sunday. Be back with World Watch next.
Topping World Watch, emergency crews in Mexico City are working to clear the wreckage from a deadly train collapse. The incident raises new questions about the safety of the city's metro system. Jeff Paul has more.
Rescue efforts turned into a recovery operation Tuesday at the site of a train collapse in Mexico City. More than 20 people died and dozens more were injured when a metro overpass caved in late Monday. Emergency crews worked to remove tangled wires and metal in the hopes of finding any more survivors.
They are proceeding to move the metro carriages to decrease a bit the risk that existed in the area.
Local officials say a concrete support beam gave way, sending 2 train cars plummeting towards a busy road. An investigation is now underway.
We are also looking today for an international company that is certified both in subway and structural matters to carry out an external technical investigation so that we can get to the causes of this unfortunate incident.
Monday's incident occurred on the metro system's newest route. Local officials say the line has raised safety concerns in the past. Part of the route was temporarily shut down in 2014 after reported structural issues. It was partially closed again in 2017 following a 7.1 magnitude earthquake. Mexico City's former mayor, who approved the construction of the line, said he will cooperate with an investigation.
The disposition on my part is to be in full condition to cooperate, to collaborate in whatever is necessary, and whatever is required of me.
Mexico City's metro is the second busiest in North America, just behind New York City. A senior Swiss diplomat in Iran dies after falling from a high-rise building. Iranian media says a 51-year-old woman fell from the 18th floor of her apartment building in Tehran Tuesday. The Swiss Foreign Ministry confirmed an employee had died in an accident, but did not give any details about the circumstances surrounding the tragedy. In Japan, the Tokyo Olympic Organizing Committee confirmed Monday that 6 people working on the torch relay course have tested positive for COVID-19. 6 individuals were on traffic control duty during the torch relay, and they were all wearing masks. During the weekend, Japanese Olympic officials have once again said that organizers are not considering to cancel the Summer Games, pointed to COVID-19 countermeasures highlighted in the latest edition of the Tokyo 2020 playbooks. The Duchess of Sussex is about to publish her very own children's book titled The Bench. Meghan Markle says the inspiration behind the book is the close relationship between her husband, Prince Harry, and their son Archie. The book will take an in-depth look at the bond between fathers and sons through a mother's point of view. The Bench is currently available for pre-order and will be released on June 8th. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, after weeks of backlash, President Biden announcing he is raising the cap of refugees allowed into the U.S. this fiscal year. Excuse me. The move raises annual refugee admissions from 62,500 from the historically low number of 15,000 under the previous administration. White House acknowledges it will still be hard to achieve this new target. President's refugee cap announcement comes as the administration also touting significant progress at the southern border. The number of unaccompanied minors being held in DHS facilities has gone from a high of more than 5,000 in March to now around 600. Our question to you this morning is, should the U.S. increase its refugee cap? And right now we've got an overwhelming 77% of you that say it should be decreased. 9% say keep it the same. 14% say let it be increased. You can always leave your comments on the KOAM News Now Facebook page or take part in our Insta poll. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Today, Facebook is expected to announce a decision on whether to reinstate the account of former President Trump. The social networking site suspended it in the wake of the January 6th Capitol Hill riot. President Biden has set a new goal in the nationwide fight against the coronavirus. The president wants at least 70% of the adult population to be vaccinated with at least the first dose by July 4th. Fewer than 57% have received the shot so far. Increased demand for chicken meat in the U.S. has some suppliers struggling to keep up, and that's creating a somewhat tight supply across the country. What adds to this even more is lingering effects of winter storms on major chicken-producing regions. And now some restaurant suppliers are playing catch-up to meet this demand. The City of Neosho, Missouri and the Neosho School District are looking into a partnership regarding the construction of a new performing arts center at the school. The city will waive some project fees in exchange for the school district handling construction features, including 2 crosswalks and sidewalks, rerouting Hill Street north of the high school, and improving stormwater handling at the site. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
A little bit cool out there on this Wednesday morning. Our temperature is dropping as low as 38 degrees, and the highest we only see right now is 41. Now, put into consideration our average low for this time of year would be 53. So it's going to take a while before we get there. But sunrise is going to be here at 6:19. So what are we, 11:30? 30 minutes away. 30 minutes away from sunrise. Then we begin the nice little warm up as we'll be around the 60s by the noon hour. And high 60s all through the afternoon and evening hours as well. You'll notice from the icons there that we do have a little cloud cover that builds, but not going to bring us anything today. Today's going to be absolutely glorious. With that increasing cloud cover, does a good job trapping in any heat that we get from today. So we do like that, and the fact that tomorrow will not be as chilly in the morning. As far as what we're looking at rain-wise, kind of sprints through on Thursday. It's very, very spotty. And by the time we get to the afternoon hours, we are done. More sunshine for Thursday afternoon. Warming into the weekend, but we've got rain coming Saturday night and Sunday morning, just in time for Mother's Day.
Some are calling a new COVID vaccination PSA campy, cringeworthy, and catchy. Jeannie Moose takes a look at the wacky video that's gone viral, published by the government of Singapore.
Getting folks to roll up their sleeves sometimes requires bait, everything from a free Krispy Kreme donut to $100 in real dough offered by several states. New Jersey is trying to lure residents with a free brew.
Our new Shot and a Beer program.
But who needs to pour a beer when there's Singapore? It's like a campy vaccine dance party created by the government of Singapore. Featuring a giggling actor known as Uncle Faw. And me, Rosie! Both of them from a beloved old sitcom. In which the main character is an eccentric contractor.
See, my special boots. Very professional, very contractor.
The yellow boots get resurrected in the vaccine PSA. Rosie plays the part of someone nervous about the vaccine.
But chronic illness still can take. I'm not sure, I'm quite afraid. Chronic illnesses, mild allergies, all these can take. There you see.
The video has gone global with reviews like love it and want to hide from it at the same time. A massive hit with my toddler. Excuse me while I play it a fifth time. The refrain has become an earworm. In Singlish, Singaporean English.
Singapore, don't wait and see. You better get your shot. Get your shot. Steady boom PP.
What is POM PP? It means remain calm, chill.
We don't catch it means we don't spread it like that. They can keep people safe.
This makes even Dolly Parton seem sedate.
Vaccine, vaccine, 'cause once you're dead, then that's a bit too late.
Nothing dead about this video. Like the virus, that steady POM PP stuff is contagious.
Better get your shot. Get your shot. Steady boom PP.
I don't know, what do you think? I'm down with it. Has it already knocked that other song out of your head? I'm not going to mention it.
No, I still got to roll up your sleeve. Why do I think this thing has like Baby Shark written on it?
It does.
Over there, yeah.
I could see those two performing it.
Hey, so they took the two, I'm not familiar with those two actors from that old sitcom. It's just not something I ever watched on Nick at Night. What sitcom would we use? What old sitcom actors would we use for our duo? I've got mine. You want me to go first? What do you think?
Yes.
Gabe Kaplan and John Travolta. Mr. Cotta and Vinnie Barbarino. Bring it back. I'm bringing Welcome Back Cotta to the vaccine age. I'll make a spin-off of the Welcome Back theme song. I will not sing it on air, however. You got your choices?
I don't know which two from it, but I feel like I feel like we could play with like it's tool time, you know.
Well, that'd be good. We could have the dude on the other side of the fence singing, but we never see him.
With the red flat hat.
Yes, that would be good. All right, we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this. Inching closer to sunrise here and waiting on a little bit of a warm-up. It's chilly out there. High 30s, low 40s right now. 60s by the noon hour. A little increasing cloud cover for the afternoon, but still looking like a great Wednesday, especially coming off of the type of morning that we had yesterday. Speaking of rain, anything that does roll through is going to be very, very spotty and really not show up until Thursday morning. And as it does kind of sprint through, moves very, very fast. And so by the time we get to the afternoon, we're done. It does form a line on the Mississippi, but it can't get organized over us. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And temperatures then high 60s, 70s. Going to shape up to be a little bit of a wet weekend for Saturday night into Sunday morning.
Chicken suppliers struggle to keep up with demand, how the shortage affects local restaurants. Plus, the FDA expected to give authorization for the Pfizer vaccine to a younger age group, why some parents are voicing concerns. And a look at a proposed partnership between the city of Neosho and the Neosho School District.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Enjoy a sunny, dry day today. Finally, to break up that rain from yesterday and more expected later this week. Michael Hayslip joins us with a first look at the forecast.
That gorgeous shot outside of Television City, off to plenty of blue sky and waiting on sunrise. It'll happen in just a matter of minutes, but it is rather chilly out there. You're not gonna have to scrape the windshield or anything like that, and we avoided any frost, but at the same point in time, usually we'd bottom out about 53 degrees for the first week of May. We're sitting in the 30s right now. Skywatch Storm Tracker, we are clear. If you have a chance, it's still hanging out up there. The moon's been absolutely gorgeous, just because we had such a great shot of it. But when you lose your cloud cover, look at what happens. 37 in Joplin and Carthage. 41 in Miami, 39 in Chanute, and 39 in Nevada. Wind has backed off a little bit. Still coming in from the north, though. That's why it got a little cool, but better than that 15 to 20 miles per hour that we had yesterday. Temperatures able to make it up into the 60s, even with the wind, because it's just not going to pick up today. So not bad at all for the afternoon. We're going to stay on the dry side, which we need. Now, when we get into tomorrow morning, watch how fast this thing sprints through. And it's not organized at all. Can't get organized until really it gets about to the boot heel. And so anything we see is going to be very spotty tomorrow morning and it's going to roll right through. If you've got afternoon, evening, Thursday plans, don't worry about those at all. Friday, we're off to a great start. And then Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, going to be a great morning. Rain's going to work in for the evening hours, kind of carry us into Mother's Day. But then, Tanya, we're going to be able to clear off here for Mother's Day afternoon and evening.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, just the morning hours. Take mom out to brunch, then you go do something outside.
Nah, let mom sleep in.
Okay, there you go. Good call.
Bring brunch home to her.
Well, brunch, I mean, brunch is traditionally later, so.
True, very true.
Not, we're not getting her up with the chickens and everything.
Nah. Let her sleep as long as she would like.
Yes, as long as she,
that would be ideal.
As long as she wishes.
All right, that's just some advice there. Boys. All right, thanks. Well, with chicken in low supply nationwide, some local restaurants are struggling to keep up a steady supply of items such as wings and sandwiches. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky heard from chicken experts and local businesses to see how they may be affected by this shortage.
Chicken has been hard to come by lately for some local businesses. As demand for the bird increases, suppliers are having trouble catching up. One Joplin chicken restaurant owner says she had to call multiple suppliers to get her hands on some, something she wouldn't normally have to do.
You need to call 3 suppliers. Call these suppliers, call other suppliers. You even need to find another supplier, see who can give me the chicken breast.
Price increases haven't helped either.
Yeah, price going twice up. Like last year, like 42 for a case of breast. Right now going up to 92.
But it hasn't affected everyone. Another local chicken spot didn't even realize there was an issue,
Just seen a few things on the news, but we haven't been impacted at all yet.
which he says he's grateful for.
It's a blessing. It's good to be able to take care of customers.
Tom Super of the National Chicken Council says the tight supply is just short of being a national shortage and sent us a statement that reads in part, "Chicken producers are doing everything they can to overcome the devastating impact of Mother Nature when she inflicted the once-in-a-lifetime winter storm on Texas and nearby states. Major chicken producing regions. So as high as demand is for wings right now, even small gaps in the supply of wings can cause big fluctuations in price. As for the supply itself, he says chicken sandwich wars play a part in increased demand. But chicken production is getting back to its normal pace and the supply issue should pass soon." In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
The National Chicken Council adds that chicken industry producers are working hard to meet the increase in consumer demand. Pittsburgh Police Department says a 16-year-old was behind the wheel of a car that hit a Pittsburgh Casey's. The department released more info on the crash yesterday. They say the 16-year-old drove the car up on the curb along the walkway on the east side of the building and then hit the building and caused significant structural damage. No one was hurt. The FDA is expected to give authorization for Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to be administered to a younger age group. According to federal officials familiar with the agency's plans, the authorization could come as early as next week and would open up the vaccine to those ages 12 to 15. During the course of the pandemic, information has come out noting that children are less susceptible to COVID, leaving some parents wondering why younger kids need the vaccine.
They can have mild illness, asymptomatic, in fact, and don't even know that they're contagious. So if we can prevent that, we can prevent their contact with other people that are susceptible and prevent that transmission of illness.
Stokes says it's too early right now to know if additional authorizations will come for children younger than age 12, but that trials are already underway. Walmart and Sam's Club made two announcements yesterday on the vaccine distribution front. One, that COVID-19 vaccines are now available at all of their locations. The second, that you can just walk up and get one of those vaccines. Appointments are still available as well. You can find more information in the story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. The city of Neosho, Missouri and the Neosho School District are looking into a partnership regarding the construction of a new performing arts center at the school. The city will waive some project fees in exchange for the school district handling construction features, including 2 crosswalks and sidewalks, rerouting Hill Street north of the high school and improving stormwater handling at the site.
I appreciate their willingness to work with us. I mean, it's one of those situations where we're all kind of here to support our kids in our town, and they've got to think about their bottom line, and we've got to think about ours.
The Neosho City Council yesterday considered initial approval of the agreement. The council also voted to accept a $2.5 million grant to address flooding issues. The city is contributing $150,000 to that effort. A man who fatally shot 3 people at Jewish sites in Kansas has died in prison. The Kansas Department of Corrections said in a news release yesterday that 80-year-old Frazier Glenn Miller Jr. died yesterday at the El Dorado Correctional Facility. Miller, who was also known as Frazier Glenn Cross Jr., was sentenced to death for the 2014 killings in Overland Park, Kansas. The DOC says an autopsy will determine the cause of death. The Kansas governor is encouraging restaurants in her state to apply for Restaurant Revitalization Fund grants. The federal government is offering the grants to help restaurants recoup money lost during shutdowns. Restaurants, bars, food trucks, and caterers are all eligible. You can find more information on our website. Again, that's at KOAMnewsnow.com. 6:07.
Sunlight beginning to emerge over the horizon. Going to be a gorgeous Wednesday, late morning, early afternoon. We just got to get a little warmth up in the air because it is still cold out now. We've dropped down to 37 degrees in Joplin. 7-day forecast will have us up into the high 60s. Not only today, but tomorrow. Rain's going to be extremely spotty. Nothing serious, no accumulation to worry about. then we warm up into the 70s, but we got additional rain coming Saturday night into Mother's Day morning.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, it's another Wildcat Wednesday, and we find out how kids in 4-H are using their skills to earn a little bit of cash on the side. And pop-up vaccination clinics.
I'm Natalie Brandon, Maryland, with a look at how these mobile vaccination units are helping deliver hope to communities struggling to get shots in arms.
Plus, if you're looking for a summer job, we'll tell you why it's a good time to apply to be a lifeguard. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Money Watch this morning, as summertime approaches and people hit the beaches and pools, there's a shortage of lifeguards available to protect them. Lifeguards are not returning in sufficient numbers as warmer temperatures near, and people want to be by water. Water parks, beaches, and pools that were closed down during the coronavirus pandemic will soon reopen, but the lack of available lifeguards to staff them is worrying some that have to train and fill those needs.
That we're trying to facilitate with the shortage here, and it's a task trying to get these guys out, try to get them trained and get them ready to go. It's really kind of slowing things down for everyone getting back to normal.
The lifeguard shortage is very real, especially here in the Phoenix market, because we're opening up all of our pools right now.
Key factors affecting lack of lifeguards include training classes canceled because of the pandemic, travel restrictions affecting seasonal workers, and older lifeguards and swimming instructors retiring early. Pandora Jewelry will no longer use diamonds that come from mines. Instead, the company will use lab-created diamonds made with renewable energy. The collection, known as Pandora Brilliance, will launch in the United Kingdom this year and expand to other markets in the year 2022. Joe Jonas and Expedia want to ease post-lockdown travel hesitations. Expedia says 80% of adults in the U.S. feel stressed about booking international trips, and 60% say they need a helping hand when booking travel compared to pre-COVID. So it's making 250 replicas of Joe's right hand available in the U.S. starting today, all to symbolize the support and reassurance it aims to bring to travelers. You can try to snag one at helpinghand.expedia.com. Expedia will also be donating $100,000 to Mercy Corps. The hands were created using a 3D printer and stereolithography technology. Each one has been numbered and signed by Jonas. I'm not sure why I would want his hand. That's it for Money Watch. Let's toss it over to Michael for a look at the forecast.
Mine's not as famous as his, but it's...
Would you like a replica of my hand?
I can't do the right hand. The right hand has the clicker. The right hand does this. Ready for this? Boom, TV magic. Skywatch Storm Tracker with a high pressure system trying to move in on us. That's good news. That means we're going to have plenty of sunshine and hopefully warm us up, because we've got 37s running from Joplin, Carthage, and Lamar, 41 in Miami, 39 right now in Chanute. Wind still coming in from the north, but give it a little time and we'll be up in the 60s by the noon hour. Top out in the high 60s later on today. Next chance for rain going to be Thursday morning. Very spotty, done by the afternoon. No accumulation to worry about. Be back Wildcat Wednesday next. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, and of course it is a Wildcat Wednesday, and one of the great things about the K-State Research and Extension offices is that they really concentrate on youth development, and that's why we're fortunate enough to be joined this morning by Katie Townsend. Katie, number one, thank you for your time. Number two, you are in charge of 4-H youth development, and it's life skills that you try to instill in these kids. Give it the mission. When you look at these youngsters that you're around, what are you trying to send them into young adulthood with?
Just the life skills like you just mentioned. We want them to be self-efficient. We want them to understand leadership, responsibility, and our projects give them those skill sets. These kids come in and they pick a project. We have about 32 different project areas. For example, they will pick cooking, or we have one family that specifically has beehives, and they will work with grandma, grandpa, the local beekeeping association, neighbors, anybody in the community that's a specialist per se in that area to develop their project and really grow with it. And then they're going to bring it down to our county fair and show it off in front of a judge who's going to be an expert in that field and give them feedback on what they can do to better their project.
You know, one of the skills that you brought up, self-efficiency, well, that also means making a little money later in life.
Yes.
You got to be able to pay for the necessities of life. And one of the things that people may not realize about your 4-H projects that you usher our kids through is that they can actually make a little spending money off of it.
Yeah, that they can, and that's what makes this the perfect program to give kids a little bit of a side business. So I use the example of beekeeping. Those kids are able to take that honey, process it, take it to the local farmers market. We have young ladies that are crocheting and sewing that are also able to take those projects to the farmers markets or do personalized projects on the side and then sell them for money. And that's something that can become a career or can just become a small side business or hobby that will follow them the rest of their lives.
It's interesting because the mom and the dad and the kids, they may not realize it. How many times is it kind of an eye-opener to them that an organization like 4-H can, you know, also pay to go out and have a meal with your friends?
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. I think more and more people are going to catch on to what 4-H can do for them and the opportunities that are there. We have about 700 members across our Wildcat district, but we're always looking to grow that. It's never too late to join in on the fun and join us here in 4-H. Get with a local club, meet new friends. The people that I roomed with in K-State, I met through 4-H. I didn't go to the same club as them or the same high school as them, but those are lifelong friends that I've made.
That is a tremendous story right there. So if I am watching this morning, and we're joined by Katie Townsend of the K-State Research and Extension Office, if I am watching this morning and I want to get my son or daughter involved, what's the best way to go about it?
The best way is to call your local extension office, give them a call, ask to talk to the 4-H agent. There's one of us in every county in the Wildcat district, and we'd love to help you get set up.
And also, too, you guys have such marvelous Facebook presence and websites. It's very easy to find that contact information. Katie Townsend, she is the 4-H Youth Development Leader for the K-State Research and Extension Office out in Montgomery County. Katie, number one, thank you for your time. Number two, thank you for instilling these skills in these young children.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
All right, that's a Wildcat Wednesday for us. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the Biden administration is stepping up efforts to make getting the COVID-19 vaccine accessible for more Americans, especially in rural areas. As part of the push, the White House says FEMA will put more resources into pop-up clinics and mobile clinics. CBS's Natalie Brand visited one in Eastern Maryland to see how it works.
Targeting hard-to-reach areas.
I don't drive, so I had to wait for somebody to pick me up.
Not a problem, not a problem. Okay. We're just glad that you came.
Federal health officials are bringing the COVID-19 vaccine to communities where access can be a challenge.
I was eligible quite early, but I couldn't get it till now.
Ida Jeffries says this pop-up clinic in rural Eastern Maryland is a blessing.
I appreciate it very much.
The mobile unit from FEMA delivers hundreds of shots, then packs up and heads to another underserved, under-vaccinated community.
These are people who have very negative outcomes if they get COVID. So every shot is literally saving a life.
FEMA's Craig Levy has worked in disaster response for decades.
Usually in our responses, we're not so directly saving lives.
This vaccination team traveled all the way from Phoenix, including EMT Cornell candidate.
To hear him say, I wanted to do it, but, some of the locations was too far. And now that you guys are here, we're able to get our family and friends. So that's pretty exciting.
Thomas Stokes and his pregnant wife Tricia say this site made it easy to finally get their shots.
Hopefully my baby's protected.
And that's what we're doing it for.
Yeah.
For our kids.
First shot.
Are you nervous at all?
No.
Are you excited?
I'm excited.
For Eric Roy, scheduling was the barrier.
When you work, it's hard to get it done because I drive truck and it's just, I'm on the road all the time.
Is it a relief?
Oh man, definitely. No doubt about that. It's the first one. Now all I got to do is get the second one.
And the unit will be back to deliver that next dose. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Queen Anne's County, Maryland.
The mobile vaccination clinic in Eastern Maryland delivered more than 750 vaccines over 5 days. Well, movie star Will Smith wants to get fit and show you how he does it on YouTube. Tuesday, Smith announced a 6-part unscripted YouTube series tentatively titled Best Shape of My Life. It will show the actor rebuilding his body and getting healthy. Smith recently posted a picture of himself with a belly and commented about, quote, countless days grazing through the pantry during the pandemic. The show will feature guests including athletes, scientists, and experts. Might have to check into that. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We'll get him back looking like Mike Lowry. Yeah, brother Cam Rob knows. Mike Lowry. He was cutting those pictures in Bad Boys. Yeah, I love them. Those are some of my favorite movies. 37 right now in Joplin. It's a chilly one outside. 39 in Indy. 39 in Nevada. Let's get a little warmth here up in the air. Get up into the high 60s. 60s by the noon hour. High 60s later on for the afternoon. And overnight with the increasing cloud cover kind of helps us out there. It keeps us from dropping back down into the 30s. Now we do have some spotty rain that's going to show up tomorrow morning. It's going to sprint through. No accumulation, nothing severe. And we'll be right back after this.
Chicken suppliers struggle to keep up with demand, how the shortage affects local restaurants. Plus, the FDA expected to give authorization for the Pfizer vaccine to a younger age group, why some parents are voicing concerns. And a look at a proposed partnership between the city of Neosho and the Neosho School District.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Enjoy a sunny, dry day today to break up the rain because guess what? It's coming back again later this week. Michael Hayslip joins us with a first look at the forecast.
Luckily, we got a little bit before it arrives coming off of the, pockets of 3 to 4 inches that we got yesterday. Look at this, gorgeous outside of Television City right now, albeit a little bit cool. Also, we're beginning to pick up some patchy fog. That's a result of the clear skies and all the moisture left on the ground from yesterday. Anything you see on the green not able to hit the ground, it's a result of that fog and that moisture. 37 though in Joplin, Carthage, and Lamar. 38 in Oswego and 39 in Nevada. Wind still coming in from the north, but luckily just 5 to 10 miles per hour. We're not going to be as blustery as what we were yesterday. And by the time we roll around to the KOAM news at noon, we're going to be throwing up 60s and top out around 67, 68 degrees. Tanya was talking about the reemergence of the rain, and we'll see a little bit of it by the time it gets to Thursday morning, but it's going to sprint through and be spotty at best. By the time we get into Thursday afternoon, she's a thing of the past. Not able to stay organized over us. Really doesn't get together severe thunderstorm activity till it gets on the other side of the Mississippi. So we'll take that as a win. Not that they need any more severe weather, but it'd be great if we could just hold it at bay for the entire month. 70 on Friday, 77 on Saturday. Rain comes back Saturday afternoon and evening, carries us into Mother's Day morning. Cold front and cooler temps next week, but looks like Sunday afternoon, if you want to get mom out and about for afternoon and evening, it's going to be all right then.
All right. Yeah, let her sleep in. Wait till the afternoon when it's
There you go.
nicer. No need to take her out in the rain.
Instead of brunch, you could do lupper.
Yes, you said it. I was thinking that. People make fun of me when I say that. I'm telling you, it's true. All right, thanks, Michael. Increased demand for chicken meat in the U.S. has some suppliers struggling to keep up, and that's creating a somewhat tight supply across the country. What adds to this even more is lingering effects of winter storms on major chicken-producing regions. And now some restaurant suppliers are playing catch-up to meet this demand.
3 suppliers. Call these suppliers, call other suppliers. Even need to find another supplier, see who can give me the chicken breast. Like actual work to find material. And also he said that price going twice.
Lower supply clashing with a high demand plus increased price of the product have affected local chicken spots across the country. But experts say poultry production is beginning to return to normal. The FDA could authorize Pfizer's vaccine for those ages 12 to 15 as early as next week. KOAM's Chris Warner has more on what you need to know and how some parents feel about it.
With potential FDA authorization on the way for Pfizer's vaccine for a younger age group, some are challenging conflicting information that's been put out in the past, which says kids are less susceptible to COVID. Mercy's infectious disease preventionist Donna Stokes explains why the vaccine is important for the 12 to 15 age group.
Adolescents, they can acquire COVID. Their symptoms may be mild, but we do know that they can also develop significant and severe illness. So if we can prevent that, number one, we certainly want to do that.
Stokes says it goes beyond just keeping the kids well.
They can have mild illness, asymptomatic, in fact, and don't even know that they're contagious. So if we can prevent that, we can prevent their contact with other people that are susceptible and prevent that transmission of illness.
Rebecca West is a 15-year-old and 16-year-old at home. She says she believes in vaccines and she and her teens get the flu shot every year.
As a parent, I feel that it's safe. My 16-year-old's already got her first vaccine and no side effects.
West says it's important to her to keep them safe.
But anything to keep your child from getting any illness, I believe, is needed.
In our post on Facebook, more than 250 people responded, weighing in on both sides. Many parents agree with West about getting the vaccine to kids, but not everyone does. Charlene says, I think it's child abuse and utter ignorance to vaccinate children for a virus with a 99% recovery rate. Kimberly raised concerns about side effects, saying, with how sick it is making adults after getting it, why would you willingly put your child through that? Stokes says pediatricians are a great asset for parents.
I think our pediatricians are going to be key in helping us explain the pros and cons to parents.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Stokes says it's too early right now to know if additional authorizations will come for children younger than age 12, but that trials are already underway. City of Neosho, Missouri and the Neosho School District are looking into a partnership regarding the construction of a new performing arts center at the school. The city will waive some project fees in exchange for the school district handling construction features, including 2 crosswalks and sidewalks, rerouting Hill Street north of the high school, and improving stormwater handling at the site.
Their willingness to work with us. I mean, it's one of those situations where we're all kind of here to support our kids in our town, and they've got to think about their bottom line, and we've got to think about ours.
The Neosho City Council yesterday considered initial approval of the agreement. The council also voted to accept a $2.5 million grant to address flooding issues. The city is contributing $150,000 to that effort. Communities in Cherokee County, Kansas are battling it out in a food fight. Not a real food fight, a challenge to see who can collect more canned goods for local food pantries. The Farmers Cooperative Association says if 2,000 pounds of food is raised in total, they will donate an additional 2,000 pounds. The town that donates the most gets bragging rights, but everyone involved gets to know they're helping those in need.
The challenge was created last year as a result of COVID-19. We found that the families were struggling and the food pantries were unable to keep up with the demand. And as a result, they weren't able to provide for families. And so we found throughout the last year that demand has continued to increase and the food pantries aren't getting the donations that they typically would on a normal year. We know that kids are going to be getting out of school early or soon, and we want to be able to make sure that those families are able to provide for their kids throughout the summer months.
The Food Fight Challenge runs until May 14th. Hundreds of bears have left their winter dens and are roaming Missouri forests to help people stay safe. The Missouri Department of Conservation encourages people to be bear aware. The department offers some tips. First off, don't feed the bears. Officials say if a bear loses its fear of humans, it can become dangerous and might have to be put down. Store garbage and compost in a secure building or bear-proof container. Keep grills and smokers clean and use electric fencing to keep bears away from beehives, chicken coops, and vegetable gardens. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A Facebook board decision today.
Will former President Trump be back on Facebook today? I'm Laura Podesta with details on the decision coming down this morning.
Plus, for our Something to Talk About, we're asking, should the U.S. increase its refugee cap? We let you weigh in, but first, it's 6:37.
Might want to take a jacket on the way out the doors. Our temperatures right now are ranging from the high 30s to low 40s. You'll lose it by the time we get to the afternoon because we'll be close to 70 degrees. Be back with Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, we learned today whether former President Trump will be allowed back onto Facebook and Instagram. CBS News' Laura Podesta has details on what will factor into the determination, including the board created by Facebook that will make the decision.
It's been nearly 4 months former President Trump was last allowed to post on most of the major social media platforms. Today, Facebook's independent oversight board is set to rule on whether to allow him back on its sites. It banned Mr. Trump back in January for a post executive said incited violence during the attack on the U.S. Capitol. During the siege, the president wrote, "These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away."
I understand the attention and the spectacle around it because it is important.
Jessica Gonzalez is a member of the group The Real Facebook Oversight Board, which, to be clear, is not the actual oversight board, but rather a watchdog group made up of journalists, politicians, and civil rights activists.
The harm that could come from Trump being back on the platform is immense. So, of course, it's a spectacle.
Critics of Facebook's decision worry about the First Amendment implications.
The free speech that Americans enjoy basically depends on the whims of monopoly corporations.
Some law experts believe Facebook may need government regulation in the future.
There is a role for government here, I think, because these problems cannot be wholly solved by private entities.
The actual oversight board created by Facebook is made up of human rights lawyers, constitutional law experts, even a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and the former Prime Minister of Denmark. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
That board was chosen and funded by Facebook. If it rules in Trump's favor, Facebook has 7 days to reinstate the account. In the meantime, former President Trump has already created a blog to get his voice out to supporters. Derek Chauvin's attorney is requesting a new trial for his client. Last month, the former Minneapolis police officer was convicted of murdering George Floyd. His lawyer cited jury misconduct and said Chauvin was denied a fair trial. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, after weeks of backlash, President Biden announcing he's raising the cap of refugees allowed into the U.S. this fiscal year. The move raises annual refugee admissions to 62,500 from the historically low number of 15,000 under the previous administration. The White House acknowledges it will be hard to achieve this new target. President Biden's refugee cap announcement comes as his administration also touts significant progress at the southern border. The number of unaccompanied minors being held in DHS facilities has gone from a high of more than 5,000 in March to now around 600 people. Our question to you is, should the U.S. increase its refugee cap? And right now, we've got 78% of you, that number's been pretty consistent all morning, 78% of you say it should be decreased, only 16% saying it should be increased, and 6% going with keep it the same. Of course, you can make your voice heard by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back and celebrate birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Lance Corporal Travis Smith, who served in the United States Marines in Iraq during 2007. His hometown, Nevada, Missouri. We are proud to salute Travis Smith, our four-state hero.
The birthday list begins with Colby Johnson, aka the Little Man, and it is Tool time right there in the Johnson household as Colby celebrates number 3 in Girard.
All right, he's ready to get to building. Geneva Grimmett, turning 4 years old this year. She's ready to go shopping in Pittsburgh with birthday wishes. Love, Mommy and Daddy.
Dylan Logan's got a big day because he's got to make that trip out to Southeast Elementary Preschool right there. Looks like we got a county fair that we're probably anticipating coming up if he's raising the poultry there. Happy 5th to you, Mr. Dylan in McCune.
All right, also turning 5 years old, let's see, we got Kelsey Moss. All right, enjoying the snow cones already? Loving it.
It's
Kelsey
huge.
Moss in Columbus.
That thing's huge. Kellen Ass celebrating a 15th birthday out on the mound. Keep the runners close. Look in, get the sign, celebrate your 15th birthday, and then throw up backward K's, my man. Get it, Kellen? K's? He's in Nevada.
We'll take that. Miranda McCready, turning 32 years old this year. Happy birthday to Miranda in Chanute.
Kevin Harvey celebrating his 34th birthday. Kevin, a very happy birthday to you. This comes from happy birthday wishes from Mom and Dad.
All right. Christopher Stalling, turning 39 years old this year. Picture there with the fam. Christopher is in Webb City.
And in Columbus, a happy 80th birthday to Miss Linda Baker. Beautiful balloons there, Linda. Have a marvelous, marvelous birthday.
All right. And let's see, we've got
That's a good picture.
Bob Adams celebrating in Parsons.
Great picture right there.
All right, all right. Your daughter's sending you out birthday wishes, but she's not only sending them to you, she's sending them to Aunt Roberta, who is your twin sister. You can see her there in the pic. She's all the way out in Silver Springs, Maryland.
That's all right. We're still, they can still watch us online. We're big in former ACC/Big Ten country.
That's all right. Bob and Roberta. I love that throwback pic. You're so proud to be her sister, and she's like, get your arms off me.
No, he's like, no, I love it, but you're my sister, and you know, I love you.
Who said smile, sis? He's trying to talk to her out of this corner of his mouth in that picture.
I bet Mom and Dad had their hands full with those two. You got a feeling, right? Happy birthday, Bob and Roberta. Peanut Hess, happy birthday in Pittsburgh. Jay Martin, celebrating number 54. Happy birthday to Jay in Columbus. And Kenny Whitty, a happy birthday to you in Miami. Happy birthday and happy anniversary to all on this May the 5th. Now here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Sure is a gorgeous May morning, albeit just a little bit chilly out there. 38 degrees is where we stand. Variable wind working in just from about every direction, but at least it's not blowing at 20 miles per hour. 37 in Joplin, 39 in Miami, and 39 in both Fort Scott and Nevada. Look at those arrows just twisting back and forth. But at least it's going to be better than what it was yesterday morning as the Skywatch Storm Tracker remains clean and everything up to our northwest and our west. Not going to make it here today. That's a good sign because we've got a little high pressure just on the top side of the jet stream hanging over us, and that's going to really help us out and have a chance to dry out coming off of yesterday. As far as our day planner goes, highs in the high 60s, maybe even throw a 70 up there down to the south. And then as we work overnight, yeah, we get some increased cloud cover, but that also really helps us out temperature-wise. It's not going to be as cold Thursday morning. I shouldn't say cold, chilly. Not going to be chilly Thursday morning as it was this morning. On future track, here comes a little bit of rain for Thursday morning. It's going to sprint through. It's spotty at best. Not looking at anything severe, not looking at any accumulation, really not able to get organized until it gets on the other side of the Mississippi. And temperatures creeping up into the 70s for Friday and Saturday. Now, Saturday afternoon, evening, that's when we get some thunderstorms that roll in. Carry us into Mother's Day morning, but then Mother's Day afternoon and evening looking pretty good. We'll be back and wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Today, Facebook is expected to announce a decision on whether to reinstate the account of former President Trump. The social networking site suspended it in the wake of the January 6th Capitol Hill riot. President Biden has set a new goal in the nationwide fight against the coronavirus. The president wants at least 70% of the adult population to be vaccinated with at least the first dose by July 4th. Fewer than 57% have received the shot so far. Increased demand for chicken meat in the U.S. has some suppliers struggling to keep up, and that's creating a somewhat tight supply across the country. What adds to this even more is lingering effects of winter storms on major chicken-producing regions. And now some restaurant suppliers are playing catch-up to meet this demand. City of Neosho, Missouri and the Neosho School District are looking into a partnership regarding the construction of a new performing arts center at the school. The city will waive some project fees in exchange for the school district handling construction features, including 2 crosswalks and sidewalks, rerouting Hill Street north of the high school, and improving stormwater handling at the site. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Starting to see a little bump in our Wednesday morning temperatures, and we'll be up to the 60s by noon, so that's not going to be too bad at all. Variable breeze, even if it does come in, due north in your neck of the woods, it's not going to really cool you down too much. So close to 70 today and tomorrow. Remember that precipitation chance for Thursday. That's going to be spotty at best and kind of sprint right through. Shouldn't let it slow you down for the afternoon, certainly, nor the evening. And Friday's kind of the same way. Now Saturday, a little uptick there as far as coverage goes for the afternoon and evening hours. And we're going to get some rain for Mother's Day morning, but should clear off by the afternoon. Just cooler temps there, not only for Mother's Day, but also as we begin next week down into the 60s.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making crispy cheddar bites in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Of course, your morning news continues on KOAM. We've got the CBS Morning News. That's coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues.
What do you want to do today?
A lot of fun stuff.
Let's interview Katie Townsend.
Okay.
With 4-H Youth Development, and she's going to give us some very unique stories about how these kids and their projects, they're turning them into cash.
And I want to learn about the Bob Ross roller coaster.
Cash making money. Okay, we can do that too.
Sounds like fun.
They give us an hour over there, we might as well take it. And we've got an incomparable producer by the name of Caden Milner.
Yeah, he puts together quite a few things for us.
All right, that wraps it up for this Wednesday edition of the KOAM Morning News. Get outside, enjoy some fresh air, and please be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.